back again for another Commodore repair. Anyways, this video I'm going to be putting in a kernel ROM in what's now my main 64, this one right here. And since I got to desolder the old kernel ROM because it's got no socket, I've got myself a desoldering pump here. This particular one here is the cheapest unit I could find, which is all I could afford when I picked it up recently. And it's a bit different. It's not the usual vacuum pump. It's more of a piston style where it forces the air out the tip and then so it can form a vacuum to pull in the solder. And very affordable. I picked it up on Amazon a few months ago, but the one downside is, despite it having a North American power plug, it actually requires 220 volts, which is, you know, the usual European style. And that's why I picked up this unit here, which is a step up and down transformer, as you can see on the labeling there. So I'll be using that in a few minutes for pulling out the existing kernel ROM so I can put in the friendly neighborhood Jiffydos ROM, which I've already got in my pair of 1541s. So anyways, of course, I'll also be using a bit of this stuff, which is the liquid rosin flux, for just to get the old solder flowing so I can remove it easier. So anyways, here we go. putting any chip on an IC. Of course, if you haven't heard, the socket is pretty much a must for when you're going to have to repair this later on. These particular ones, if you can't see it on the camera, are the machine sockets, which are actually the completely round pins, which are generally the best for keeping the IC's pins straight, and also for being the easiest to use when doing a repair. So that's what I'm going to be using here. If you can't get these, the double wipe sockets, as they're called, which have the like this smaller one here, or like I'll show you here, where the SID is inserted, like this here. These have the metal, or actually the metal contacts on both sides of each little hole for each pin on the IC. The single wipe ones are just, of course, on one side, and I don't recommend those. They're not so great. They tend to wear out and lose contact a lot sooner than the others.
But now, yeah, make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. They know that we're calling it love. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt, evolve, survive, and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh, yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Okay, here we are. Time to replace the PLA on this board with, yes, I got it from the neat PLA from Retro Rewind. Again, not a sponsored video. I bought it myself as usual. And there it is right there. So, but first, we've got to get that old PLA off the board, which is often the hard part. So going to be pulling out the capped on tape again for another go round. Which diameter to use again? I think I'm gonna go for a combination of the wider stuff and the narrower and a bit of the narrower stuff. And yes, sometimes it gets all bent out of shape. There we go. The chip is now off the board, and I'll take a quick look here under the magnifier, see if there's any damage to the traces, and so far it looks like there isn't, although I'll have to clear all the holes except one of their solder, which will take a bit of time. Something that's, as you can see, I've been trying this particular solder sucker, which is the piston type. It's not a continuous airflow creating a constant vacuum, but when I press this, the piston will ram forward, push all the air out, and then pull back, of course creating a momentary vacuum. It's a lot like the manual solder suckers that we're all used to, but and of course caution is in order. I'll give it a try on one right here. Actually, I should give it a little bit more of this rosin flux here, so I can get some of this trying to be extra careful as much as I can not to lift any pads or traces, which is not easy, and I may have already done that once. This thing, I'm really having a tough time with it. because as you can probably see, it does shake a bit when it is activated. Oh, it's managed to clear one hole so far, not with the pad, so maybe I'm having a bit better luck with this, but I can't expect that to hold out forever. Big problem I have is often solder will flow down through the via and then kind of lodge there, and whether I'm using the desoldering wick or this particular tool, and it'll end up staying in the via in spite of my best efforts, or sometimes not so best. As you can see, I keep checking this, make sure I'm not lifting any pads, because I've had a few pads lifted when I was doing this particular socket here for the kernel ROM, which I'll be putting the Jiffydos back in as soon as I get this working. But first I've got to get all these vias cleared before I can get the socket in there to place my replacement PLA, because I don't want to mess that up. And I'm jumping around from hole to hole not to build up too much heat in one spot on the board, because that would be bad news. I'm going to do a bit of work on the other side here. Try to get some of this side to cool off a little bit before I go on with the rest. Actually, that one worked. I think I'm having some better luck with this particular desoldering station, but eventually I will try to maybe sell this and hopefully get myself a better desoldering station which provides more continuous vacuum, which would be ideal, except those things are bloody expensive, in the range of over $300 each, so that'll take me a while, because life does get in the way, and like all of us, bills got to be paid first. And I don't know if you see it, but these three holes here, I managed to clear all three of them and no damage to the pads so far. So I am having a bit more luck today. Yes. Another thing I should do sometime is replace this. Is just the liquid rosin core flux that I've been using for years, and I'm seeing some of those other channels on YouTube use some more of some other kind of flux. which I am tempted to start trying, as it seems to be less mess to clean up. You don't get so much of that sticky goop that you get with this stuff, which, I mean, this stuff does work, but it ends up, as you've seen, sticky and horrible on the board, and is a real pain to clear off. This is doing better so far, so maybe I can, I'm thinking I might be able to get through this particular part of the job without any further mishaps. Fingers are crossed. Yes. Well, let's see, I've got about 6 of the pads along this side, starting at pin 1 of the PLA location, U17. And so far, so good. Got this magnifier right above the camera, which I'm using, which is that springy sound you keep hearing. And that is what's allowing my old eyes to see what I'm doing. Having a good time. I've gotten almost all of this one side, starting at pin 1, all along here. Just about cleared out except for maybe 1 or 2 pads, which are so at the end here I need to do. Yes. I'm really having a better time of it with this one. I gotta redo this right here. Looks like I've got that side of the that one row of landing pads there. That looks like that's all done, so now back to this other side to clear out all these remaining holes. As you can see, I'm basically placing the tip straight over the landing pad in the via, and that seems to be the most effective means of getting this done, as long as my hands are not shaking while I'm doing it. Actually, this is working out pretty good today. I've got a hint of one pad lifting up there, starting to lift, which I still have to clear that one out, which is a pain, but it goes over to another landing pad here, which, if I need to bypass that, I can always run another bit of 30 gauge wire over there and yes, that is not lifted up, so
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down. They wanna rise up while you drown. They wanna fill your head with doubt. They're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises. And when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance to be ruthless. They don't wanna see me care. Anytime I make some progress, I can see that they compare. I think everyone's against me, maybe something in the air. Am I paranoid? I swear a void is forming and they're scared I walk a straight path. Not many can say that. I like to play fast, cross me and there's payback. You better pray that I don't see your face at any place that I go. I know you hate that. I've been doing fine, I'm not wasting any more time.
90%, which is the best I could get my hands on in these uncertain times. Not the perfect way to do the cleaning, but it works well enough for my stuff. So, and yes, my old former toothbrush is getting a second life. As a retro repair tool. And just a standard old drugstore cotton ball to pick up all the as much residue as I can, hopefully all of it. Oh, yes, and probably can't really see that too well, but I'll bring you over here. And that looks a lot better. Although, oh, okay, two pads did lift up, but that can be fixed. Check what pin sockets I need. 1, 2. Yeah, so I need my 28 pin sockets, which are, I think, just my luck. Always something falling over. Now, there's my 28 pins here. I'll check these here. Yeah, these are some of the machine pinned sockets like this here. This particular brand I buy off of Amazon just because it's easy to get hold of. Yes, got a 28 pin. And in fact, probably can't see it yet, but this particular kernel ROM, the good thing Frank at Retro Replay has done is use these machined round pins, which actually fit these sockets rather well. And those actually are the best for the through-hole boards like this, because they give a much better connection. Of course, if you can't get these, the dual wipe sockets, which have the flat pins and have the connections on both sides of the outer and inner side of each pinhole, are also quite useful. Or the next best thing to these machined sockets. And yes. Okay. Now let me get all this bunged up tape off. I'll get rid of that. The garbage. And also, if you're doing these, make sure you get the notch on the socket in the right position, matched up with the board, because that's where pin 1 goes, which is right here. Notch, pin 1, and this one is pin 28 is up there. So. Okay, looks like yeah. Okay, I'm going to put you on pause for a few minutes because I've got some... Okay, had to connect 2 of these wires over here where the pad's lifted. Put the sockets in place, and now I have to just solder it into place, and hopefully I'll be able to test the new PLA and have the board running tonight.
retribution. Oh yeah, we want retribution.